Powdery mildews attack a wide variety of woody ornamental and herbaceous plants in the landscape. And when we talk about powdery mildews, we're really talking about quite a fairly large group of fungi that are all related to each other. And they all cause very similar sorts of symptoms. You'll get this white powdery growth on the surface of the leaf. And sometimes it's not real obvious. On some leaves, for example, there can be just a very sparse amount of powdery mildew on the surface of the leaf, and yet other times it can be quite dense, almost to the point where you don't even recognize that it's powdery mildew present. Now, all these powdery mildews are obligate parasites, and that means they have to have a live plant cell in order to invade and extract nutrients. The fungus survives by spreading from plant to plant. And then in the winter time, it will survive a couple different ways. One way is it'll form kind of a small ball-like structure on the surface of the leaf, and those structures are called cleistothecia, and they will survive in a dormant state on the leaves or as the leaves are on the ground. Now, the other way that the fungus can survive is just in the vegetative structure, or as hyphae, on leaves that remain on the tree, or sometimes also it will remain on the twigs. So the fungus can survive quite well in the landscape. Now, what will happen is in the springtime, the fungus will continue to develop, spores will form, and the spores will be blown around in the canopy as the new leaves and new twigs are coming out. The spores will land on the leaves and twigs and begin to grow on the surface of the plant and send fine threads down into the plant cells. Now, actually what happens is the bulk of the fungus remains on the surface of the leaf, and these fine threads will slip down inside the cells just between the cell wall and the cell membrane and begin to extract nutrients. Now, from the time the fungus invades the leaf until new spores form can be as short as 48 hours. The weather conditions that favor powdery mildew development are cool, humid conditions at night and warm, dry conditions during the day. And we usually get that alternating between cool and moist and warm and dry in the spring and in the fall. And so the spores will develop, they're blown by the wind, and will land on the leaf and invade. Now, the one question that's important to consider is, how do you control powdery mildew? And what it comes down to is a judgment call as to whether or not it's worthwhile controlling. If the plant has to be perfectly clean, there are a large number of fungicides that are registered for use for powdery mildew control. And the big advantage is that the bulk of the fungus is right on the surface of the leaf. And so the fungus is exposed to the fungicide. Now, if the plant is not of high value, or it's not in a very prominent location, you can often live with quite a bit of powdery mildew and not worry about it. The fungus will cut down a lot of the photosynthetic activity in the infected leaf, and it also makes the plant less thrifty in water use. The stomates tend to stay open, and there's a lot more transpiration. But in most cases, powdery mildew attacks woody plants so late in the season that the leaves are going to fall off soon anyway, and there's really no point in trying to control it because the fungus doesn't have enough time to cause significant damage. So for powdery mildew control, although it's very common in the landscape, often we don't bother trying to control it.